All right, my friends, welcome back. In the previous video, we walked through the entire dashboard. I showed you all of the features that it has to offer. I made sure to let you know of all the things that you want to make sure to set up inside of Acuity. We will also provide a checklist for you to make sure that you can run through that checklist, make sure you got everything and you are all set and ready to go. In this video, we are going to go into our business settings and we are going to get some more action done. We are going to set up your appointment types and we are going to set up your availability. For your availability, what this is going to look like, we're going to create your calendars. Again, like I mentioned in the first video, we are going to set this up for your one-on-one service, and we are also going to set this up for group offerings. Okay, so two different calendar types that we are going to set up. And if you want to continue to add different calendars to this, you can, and that would be in the case if that would be the case of you needing to set up a whole different type of service. Okay, so outside of one-on-one services, outside of group events is the reason why you would want to do that. All right, so we are back inside of Acuity. The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to go under availability, and this is where we are going to create our calendars. All right, so let's go here. This is the test calendar that we created at the very beginning. I will just leave that as is, and I'm going to go over here to the top right hand corner and we are going to add new calendar. All right, again, I'm going to be doing this for demo purposes and make sure that you set this up according to your needs. All right, so I am going to do just one-on-one service offering. This would obviously be the name of what your service is. It would be maybe the Healing Tree Collective Services, if that is how you wanted to, or obviously you wouldn't want to do that, but you would name your business and the services. And then this would be my very thorough description of what this calendar is offering. Make sure to be descriptive so that clients know what they're booking for. Okay, make sure that you do that there. Now the location, what is the location of where you are offering this? For us, it's going to be at the Healing Tree Collective. All right, if this was something where you are doing this maybe at your home space, if you want to call that something, if you want to call your office space, or maybe you want to say that this is at your office, put that there. That's where your location would go. All right, so now for image, I like to just use our logo for this. I'm going to go ahead and pop in our logo. If this is if you are doing this, I'm going to go back here actually. If this is something, again, where we are facilitating out of our studio space, then I am going to put an image that portrays that. Okay, so let's go in here and let's just go into our studio. Oh, that image is bigger than 1.5 megabytes. So let's do maybe a smaller one. And for whatever reason, it's looking like that. Okay, but here's where you could upload an image of what it is, of where the location is of your offering. All right, so now email notifications. Where do you want to be notified that somebody has booked on this calendar? And so for us, I am going to do our email for this, and let's go ahead and do that. And then any replies, same thing. I want it to go to that same email. So make sure to input any email that you want any replies to from your clients. It'll go into this email here. All right, so once we got that, we will go ahead and hit save. And let's go ahead and hit cancel for now. Let's just go ahead and create the calendar. So we have one calendar right there. I believe we can, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this test calendar. So now we have just our, see, normally it should show the image. Let's try to just select a different one, see if it comes up. It may be just, see, okay, so now we it just may depend on the image. So, but this is nice to have for people to see there. It just depends on the image, if it's glitching or not. And I'm gonna go ahead and add one more calendar, and this would be for group events. Okay, so obviously you would call this, I would recommend you call this group events, and then you can call your individual appointment types the name of your actual event. All right, so let's go ahead. This would be my very thorough description of what people are booking on this calendar. So here you're not going to do a specific description for the event or the class. This is just the calendar that hosts all of your events and your classes. So again, just kind of like a general description of what this calendar displays. And again, this is going to display group events, so you want to be sure and you want to be clear that you are letting people know of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit location there. Let's go ahead and add another image. That one is too big. Let's go ahead and input this one, see if it comes up. All right, so for whatever reason, some images work, some images don't work. Whatever reason, it's like just glitching like that. So let's maybe use the same image that we used before. See if it's just gonna keep doing that. So you may wanna just play with this and see which images are working. For whatever reason, it just keeps glitching. All right, so now let's go ahead and do this. Email notifications. If you could also put a phone number if you wanted to get a phone number, or sorry, a phone text message notification when somebody books on here. I wouldn't recommend that you do that, otherwise it might be just a little annoying. But you can send any of your email notifications to the email that you designate. Any bookings to the email that you designate. All right, let's go ahead and hit cancel for that for now. So for our one-on-one service offering, we are going to go inside of our calendar settings, into our availability limits. Okay, so let's go into this one here. And this is where you want to adjust your time frames. Are you going to not be available on Sundays? Are you closed? So you would just, if you're not going to do anything on Sundays, you can just remove that. If on Mondays you maybe are only available from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for any one-on-one services, then you can go ahead and adjust that right there. So here is where you would want to adjust some of these. Let's say, for example, here on Wednesdays, I'm only available from 12 p.m. all the way up until 8 p.m. And then on Fridays, I'm only available from 10 to 2 p.m. And then Saturdays, I am available mostly all day long. So Sundays is the only day that it looks like I am going to be closed, and I'm going to go ahead and hit my save the regular hours. And this is going to save those hours again just for this calendar right here. One thing to keep in mind is that this calendar operates separately from your group events calendar. So whatever availability that you set right here is not going to be connected to the other calendar. So they do operate separately. All right, and that's important for you to know, because when somebody books on this calendar, you will have to go and block off the time from the other calendar if you have it out there, if you have it available, because it's possible that somebody might book for that time on the other calendar. It shouldn't be a problem, but it's possible. Okay, so just keep that in mind. In case it does happen, you will know that it's because the two calendars aren't communicating with each other. All right, and I want to give you a quick example of what I mean by this, because this is the scenario for our business, for the Healing Tree. For the Healing Tree, we have two different calendars. We have the Healing Tree Studio calendar, which offers the rates at the normal hourly rate. And then we also have this reduced rate Healing Tree Studio calendar right here. And this offers the studio rate at a lower rate for some of our practitioners, depending on what the offering is. And the reason why we had to create two different calendars was so that we can have two different price points. And what ended up happening was we needed to have the regular rate calendar communicate with the reduced rate calendar. So if somebody booked a time, let's just say 2 p.m. on Monday, over here at our regular rate calendar, it needed to block it off over here at the reduced rate calendar so that somebody wouldn't go and double book it, essentially. Because the scenario was, the case was that there was both availability, the same availability on both of these calendars, and again, they needed to block each other off. When one was being booked, it needed to block it off over here on this one, and vice versa. When the regular rate calendar was being booked, it needed to block off the reduced rate calendar. And so now what you can see here as we scroll down, anytime somebody books a 1 hour studio at the regular rate, it's already going to automatically create a block inside of the reduced rate calendar. You can see right here, it's already creating that block so nobody can book it at that time. And you can see a couple other examples right here. Anytime somebody books the regular rate calendar, it blocks it off on the reduced rate calendar. And when somebody books on the reduced rate calendar, it automatically blocks off that section on the regular rate calendar. And by the way, that's something that is done only with Zapier, when we can automatically do that. Otherwise, you will have to manually do that, where we can dive into the automations in another video. That'll be a bonus thing for all of you guys. The important thing is that you guys understand that and be mindful of it so that you don't accidentally double book. All right, so now let's go into the calendar scheduling limits. So this is great for you to have. Do not allow clients to schedule for fewer than 12 hours in advance, and this is for one-on-one services. So I would recommend that you keep this open a little bit more than just 12 hours, because 12 hours prior, that could have been at midnight, and now I have an appointment at 12 p.m. and I may not be prepared for that. Depending on what your service is, you may need a little bit more time to prepare for that appointment. So I would definitely at minimum keep this at 24 hours in advance. Do not allow clients to schedule fewer than 24 hours and more than 365 days in the future. So you would want to change this one as well. So how long do you want clients to be able to book you in the future? How long do you want to, be committed to an appointment in the future? If you open this up to maybe 6 months, which would be 180 days, somebody can book you 6 months from now, which sounds great, but now you cannot necessarily, if you have something that maybe comes up during that time, or some sort of family vacation comes up during that time, you're now committed to that appointment. I mean, obviously you can reschedule it, but you don't want anybody to schedule that far out in the future. It also kind of brings up a couple other problems. When people are booking that far out in the future, things may come up for them as well, and they may end up canceling or rescheduling, because 6 months into the future, you don't really know what's going to happen. So I would bring this down to maybe 90 days is what my recommendation would be, 3 months out. And as people bring up the situation, hey, I can't book out in let's say in September because it's past the 90 days that you have set up right here. And if they really wanted to, then you can come back in here and you can open up that time frame for that client so that they can book that time that you guys agreed upon. All right, so appointments per time slot, you want to keep this as 1. Do not allow clients to cancel or reschedule appointments less than 12 hours in advance. So this is something that you want to consider. You want to make sure that people don't at least 12 hours. If somebody is going to reschedule, make sure that it's at least 12 hours, if not even, maybe it's 24 hours, because it does throw you off, like we talked about earlier. It does throw you off. It does throw off your business. Maybe, the efficiency in your business. Maybe you want to have a little bit more time to fill that space. Maybe it's 48 hours, and when somebody cancels or reschedules, and you want to fill that time slot with somebody else. It gives you some time to post on social media, on your stories, or whatever it is, for you to fill that time. And now you have 2 days versus 12 hours. You're not going to fill it. Most likely not will fill it in 12 hours. All right, so maximum appointments, you want to accept appointments until fully booked. All right, so let's go ahead and save these limits, and now we have that set up on this one. All right, so now calendar number 2, we are going to go into our group events calendar. And again, this is very key that you set it up this way, because it's just going to separate your one-on-one service offerings versus your group events. And when you want somebody to sign up for your group events, you don't want them to see all of your one-on-one services, because then that just causes confusion and lack of efficiency and clarity. And you want them to, when you're selling your group events, you want them to sign up. You want them to see the event and sign up and pay you for your event, and done deal. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you want to minimize the opportunity for squirrels. Okay, keep it very direct with what you want people to do, so that they don't wander around to look at other things and decide not to follow through with their booking. All right, so let's go into our group events calendar down here at the bottom. And this one is going to be very easy and straightforward. You want to leave this one blank. You don't want to have any availability open for this one. You want to leave it all closed out. You want to uncheck this box right here. So at first it'll look like this, and then when you uncheck it, it'll look like this. So if you kind of scroll through here, make sure that there is nothing available, that it is all completely blank, because we're going to handle this when we start creating our appointment types and inside of this calendar, and then that'll open up the availability for people to book. All right, so one last thing here, go into your calendar scheduling limits. Again, you don't if you want to open this one up, because in this case, when people are signing up for your events, sometimes people do sign up right before your event, maybe an hour, 30 minutes before. I would put that into 0. Okay, in case, or unless it's an event where like you need to know how many people sign up because you have materials to prep for or anything like that, or to bring for those specific guests, then you can obviously put that amount, maybe 12 hours, maybe 24 hours. Sometimes, again, that still causes a little bit of problem. Make sure that you're putting that out there in your marketing and in your messaging, that people need to sign up 12 hours before or 24 hours before, so that you can prepare. All right, and then obviously this one doesn't really matter what you have it as, because it's not going to let people book anyways, but I'm just going to bring that one down to 30 appointments per time slot. Excuse me. You want to leave that one as 1. Do not allow clients to cancel or reschedule. Again, remember, this is specifically for your events. So if you don't want people to cancel or reschedule, then I would bring that one down to 0. All right, and then maximum appointments, you leave that one, accept appointments until fully booked. And let's go ahead and save those limits. All right, so before we get out of here, again, those are the 2 primary calendars that you want to create: your one-on-one services, and then your group events. Let's go in here. Okay, I did add a location in there. All right, and then your group events. Okay, so let's go into our global. Let's go ahead and just ignore this one for now. This one isn't going to apply to you just yet. If you do have any questions on rooms and resources and how that works, feel free to reach out and we can explore that option. But for the most part, I don't believe that this will apply to you. All right, so now global scheduling limits. Let's go in here and just make sure that this is all set as well for the general. Again, limit clients. This is just going to be kind of your default settings when you create a new calendar. Minimum 12 hours of when people can cancel, reschedule their appointments. Limits when clients can schedule, reschedule, and cancel appointments. And this one, minimum hours, is going to be 24. And then how far out into the future? Let's go ahead and hit 90. Allow clients to reschedule appointments. Do you want that? Yes, I would recommend that you do. If you don't want clients to cancel their appointments, then you go ahead and uncheck that one. All right, and then so for intake forms, do you want people to, let's say always allowed even after appointments, edit the intake form? Do you want the ability to be able to edit the intake form, whether that's you or that's your client? And that gives you the opportunity to do that right here. Otherwise, you go ahead and unselect that one. If you find it beneficial, if this is going to be a little bit of trial and error as you start to use these options. If you find that clients need to edit their intake form, then you can come back in here, check that box. In the meantime, you can just uncheck it and play with that and see how that works out for you. All right, my friends, so in an effort to keep these videos short and sweet, we are going to end this one right here. In this video, we set up your calendars. So we set up your one-on-one service offering calendar for people to book for your one-on-one services. And then we also set up your group events calendar. And remember, we wanted to keep these separate, and this is very key for your business, because for these two different types of offerings, we were already seeing that we need different settings. For example, the need to cancel and reschedule, those available or those limiting features or those limits for those calendars are going to vary, and they're going to differ for those two different types of services. And as we continue to move along here, you will see that we will definitely need to have different settings for both of these different calendars. All right, so in the next video, we are going to set up your appointment types. We are going to dive into setting up your one-on-one service appointment types, and we are also going to set up your group events appointment types. All right, you guys, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.